I'm Bob Krebs. My guest today on the program is a lady who has 50 years in Catholic education. I'm talking about the Associate Director for the Catholic Schools Office, the Associate Superintendent for the Catholic Schools Office for the Diocese of Wilmington, Carol Ripken. Carol, it's great to have you on the program.
Thank you.
When I heard that you had 50 years, I didn't believe it, first of all.
Oh, you're very kind.
You must have been about 3 when you started in teaching in Catholic schools. But congratulations, and thanks so much for your dedication. It takes a lot to be in Catholic education for all those years.
Well, thank you. It's been a wonderful journey for me.
We're going to be talking about that journey, but before we do, let's get to know you a little bit. Tell us about yourself. What do we need to know?
Well, I am a Catholic, faith-filled educator who was born, raised, and still live in Harford County, Maryland. And I was very blessed to have 16 years of Catholic education, and as you indicated, have taken quite a journey for 50 years from that time.
So where did you go to, like elementary school and high school and college?
I went to St. Joan of Arc in Aberdeen, Maryland, which was my home parish school. Went on to John Carroll High School in Bel Air, Maryland, and then on to the College of Notre Dame, now university, but at that time, the college. And I had a degree in secondary education in English and social studies, certified in both. Went on to get my master's degree at Towson University, and my master's degree was in supervision and leadership.
That's quite an impressive resume there. It's funny. I almost went to John Carroll. That was my second choice. I ended up going to Calvert Hall, but John Carroll was my second choice.
Oh.
And my wife, she is a graduate of Towson, so there's some connections there for sure.
Absolutely.
And we're both, Orioles and Ravens fans. So
No question there.
it's a difficult time for us these days, but
We won't talk about that today, Bob.
So there was a point where you graduated from college. You were looking for a job. Why did you choose to be a Catholic school teacher rather than go to one of the public schools where, they treat you a little bit better as far as the paycheck is concerned?
Well, I think much of that had to do with the influence of my own Catholic education. And my college advisor happened to be a school sister of Notre Dame, and she kept pointing me in the direction of Catholic schools. And as a matter of fact, in March or April of my senior year of college, she said to me, "I've got the perfect job for you." And it happened to be at an all-girls Catholic high school in Baltimore City.
Was that Seton?
That was the Institute of Notre Dame.
Oh, okay. IND is what we call it.
Right.
In Baltimore, yeah.
Yeah.
And how long did you teach there?
I was at IND for 20 years,
Wow.
but I really moved from a teaching position into administrative positions while I was there.
And then from there you went to?
I became the principal of John Carroll in Bel Air, where 17 men on the faculty had taught me when I was a student there, so that was an interesting twist.
I can imagine. And then from there?
From there, I went on to be the associate superintendent in Baltimore.
Right. And how many years were you there?
I was in Baltimore for 6 years as associate superintendent, and now in my 16th year here in Wilmington.
Where do the years go? I mean, I
They
think the
just
question.
disappeared.
I know. If you could figure that out, please let me know, because
I
I
shall.
really like to know. So when you were teaching, what did you like most about being a teacher?
Oh, there were a lot of things I really enjoyed. I love of young people.
Yeah.
And I truly enjoyed opportunities to try to support them and inspire them spiritually, academically, socially, emotionally. It was such a good feeling in the classroom when a student had the, oh, I get it, kind of an aha moment. And that was very self-fulfilling. But I would also say teaching kept me on my toes. I learned as much from my students as they learned from me. They really were the ones that allowed me to think critically, to try to figure out how to solve problems creatively, because they were always coming to you with questions. And they gave me a different perspective of the world, and I liked that. And in order to keep them engaged in the class, I was always having to learn to do things differently.
Yeah. That's really interesting, how you were the teacher, but you were also taught by your students. So, yeah, that's cool. And then you made the switch to being a school administrator. Tell us about that.
Wow, there's a lot to tell there.
We got time.
I moved from a teacher, full-time teacher, into a position of dean of students, which I often say was probably my favorite job ever, but don't tell anyone that.
Okay.
I worked with student activities while still teaching a couple of classes, and I was responsible for clubs and sports and retreats and assemblies and attendance and discipline. But I interacted with students all day, every day. I moved from that role into the assistant principal position, and in that role I was more working with teachers, scheduling, curriculum, professional development, observations, things like that.
Mentoring, yeah.
Yes. And then, as we've talked about, I moved into principalship, and 3 different principalships. I guess student body ranging from about 450 students to 925. They were an all-girls school in the city and then 2 co-ed schools in suburban areas, and then the associate superintendent position.
So what does an associate superintendent do?
Whatever the superintendent thinks they should do.
Or whatever the superintendent doesn't want to do.
I think the Catholic Schools Office mission really speaks to what we do. We lead, we serve, and we support school communities. We partner with school administrators with the ultimate goal of having our young people become leaders of the church and the world. But in terms of specific jobs, I view my role as assisting the superintendent in any way that I can in serving our diocesan schools. No day is ever the same. There are days that we are meeting with administrators, talking with teachers, ensuring good, strong Catholic identity, academic excellence. There are other days where we're troubleshooting because of issues with students, parents, faculty members. There are days that we're planning meetings and events. Other times that we are really facilitating committee meetings. I know in the past few years I have worked with committees to write the principal evaluation instrument, the teacher evaluation instrument, professional development days, serve on boards that the superintendent asks that we be his designee. So really, it's a variety of things that we do during the course of a week.
And your experience with students, teachers, parents, administrators, it's all led you to this important position because you've been there and you've done that. Does anything surprise you anymore?
Yes, there are situations that come up where we need to troubleshoot, where I must say I am surprised, and that could range from student behavior, teacher actions, Yes.
Yeah, I would think that the students from the 1980s are quite different from the students and parents, and everything's different, from back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, when I started teaching in the 70s, things were very different than they are right now.
My guest today on Catholic Forum is Carol Ripken, and she is an associate superintendent of schools for the Diocese of Wilmington. You have a great team in the schools office. Of course, you have Dr. D'Angelo, you have Mary Philippone, Amanda McLean, and now Tyler Culp.
Yes.
Am I forgetting anybody?
No,
That
is us.
Yeah, and you guys, you are a medium-sized, school district run by just a handful of people. It always amazes me how much you guys do with just a little group of very dedicated and talented people.
But it's amazing, Bob, what you can do when there's teamwork. And that's what I feel really is true of our Catholic schools office. We work as a team.
I think you probably already answered this, but what do you like most about your job?
I think that I would have to say I believe leadership is relationships. And I like developing relationships. It's funny, our theme this year in the diocesan office is called By Name. And that's one of the things I love about my job. I get to know administrators, teachers, counselors, all by name, and I work closely with them. I like developing those relationships of collaboration and trust.
Looking back over your career, how has Catholic education changed?
Oh, wow. In so many different ways. I'll share a few.
Please.
One would be who is actually providing the education. Because when I first started teaching in the 1970s, most of the Catholic school educators and administrators were priests and sisters. And now the schools are essentially run by the laity. I was one of 4 lay teachers in a school when I first started. It's not only who was providing it, but it's also who we're serving today. Because at one time, the students in a Catholic school were all Catholics. And all of them were ones who the administrators felt could succeed academically and behaviorally in a Catholic school. And now, many of our schools are only 50% or less Catholic. And we now provide so many different accommodations for students that was never provided in the past. And I think another big change in who we serve is not only are we accepting students of other faiths and students that have needs, but we now have pre-K programs.
Yeah.
We serve 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds. When I started teaching, there were very few Catholic kindergartens and no Catholic preschools at the time.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest change that I would point out that I have seen is how we teach and what the classroom environment looks like now. I'm going to go back again to the 70s when we frequently had 40 or more students in our classroom in desks in straight rows. And now teachers would die if they were asked to serve 40 students. And they're collaborative seating arrangements in classrooms, which is wonderful. It used to be sage on the stage, rote memorization, and now education is interactive. It's critical thinking, it's problem solving, it's real world skills. So I think it's wonderful that we have moved in that direction. It used to be textbooks, chalkboards, and an occasional overhead projector. And now you walk into a classroom and there are all the digital tools available. Kids today probably don't even know what an encyclopedia is, and that's what I grew up using as my research tool.
And film strips. Do you remember film strips?
Oh, I do. I remember film strips well.
How have the students changed over the years? I mean, you mentioned that they're not all Catholic anymore, but what other changes have you noticed?
I don't think students have really changed that much. Basically, I think the current environment in which the students live has caused them to be different than they were at one time. I truly believe that social media has caused many students so much stress and anxiety. We're now really needing to watch out for the wellness of our students. Politics, violence are causing students to be afraid in some cases, even in a school building or a church building. But basically, I think kids are the same. And I think the thing that I love about students today is I feel they have a much greater social awareness than they did when I first started teaching.
Right, yeah. How about the Catholic identity of the schools and of the school families and the kids? Has that changed, or has that pretty much stayed the same?
I feel that's been pretty consistent.
Yeah. I think so too. Yeah. You still have the crucifix on the wall in the Catholic schools, and maybe the statue of Mary, and
Absolutely.
still do the Pledge of Allegiance, I guess, in many of our classrooms.
And prayer to
Prayer,
begin
absolutely.
each day at lunchtime at the end of the day. Yes.
Yeah, that's great. So, in your opinion, with all your experience, what makes a great Catholic school?
A school that is mission driven, a school that focuses on Catholic identity, focuses on academic excellence, a school that focuses on the whole child, that provides a well-balanced education to the students. Certainly, in Catholic schools, I believe that service to others is something that I would always be looking for when I was critiquing a school.
Also, our schools have changed, whereas, when we were in school, if our parents paid any tuition, it was minimal, because the sisters and the brothers and the priests were there working as slave labor, pretty much. And here we have a case where some of our schools have closed, and it's not just a Diocese of Wilmington problem, it's a problem all across America. So what do you think the future holds for Catholic schools?
I wish I knew the answer to that question.
Oh, come on, Carol.
I do believe that as long as Catholic schools take a different view, and I believe that we have recently, we understand that we can no longer live in the traditional parish model of schools and rely solely on the parish to support our schools. If our schools are willing to go out and do more marketing, more recruiting exercises, better communication, explaining the Catholic identity, the values that occur in our schools today, if we're willing to look into alternative sources for funding, like the federal tax credits, then I do think that our schools will survive and hopefully thrive in the future. I certainly would never, ever want to see Catholic education becoming one for the haves and not be available for the have-nots. So I think seeking financial aid resources for students is critical for the future.
We have a great story to tell in our schools about the academic excellence, the service, the faith, safety. We just have to do a better job of telling that story.
I agree.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to a parent who is considering a Catholic school for their kids?
Do it.
Yeah.
Consider a Catholic school, but also to really look into the specific Catholic school where their particular child should go. Because I do believe that certain schools are a better fit than others for particular students. They should go to the websites, do their research, visit the schools, talk to administrators and teachers.
And other parents. Yeah.
Absolutely, other parents, and allow their child to visit the school, spend a day at the school, get a feel for whether they are comfortable in that environment. And as we just said, look into whether there is financial aid available,
Right.
because for many families that's a necessity.
Right. It's a sacrifice to send your kids to Catholic school. You might not be able to get that car that you wanted or go on that expensive vacation, but the dividends that you get from that investment in your children is well worth it.
Absolutely.
Carol Ripken, Associate Superintendent of Schools for the Diocese of Wilmington, thanks so much for spending some time with us today on Catholic Forum. And more importantly, thank you so much for your leadership and for your ministry here in the Diocese of Wilmington. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Bob. It's been a pleasure.